What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today, we're going to be giving a playoff prediction right here of the NFL playoffs. So if you do enjoy this content, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below who you believe will be winning the Super Bowl. So without further ado, let's get right on into this. So I understand I'm a little late. The first game already started. Texans Chargers. I'm uploading this when the Texans are up 13-6 on the Chargers themselves. So keep that in mind. But we're just going to go ahead and just plow through this playoff prediction, give you guys some reasoning as to why I have these players and teams going where I do. So let's just get it out of the way. Let's start with that game. The Texans Chargers. You know, that one is an interesting game. Of course, we know Texans are leading. Texans are at home. They have Joe Mixon. They have CJ Stroud. They're a little injury ridden and everything like that. The defense is pretty solid. As far as this game goes, I kind of expected this game to be a very low-scoring game. Both offenses haven't necessarily been fantastic. I mean, the Chargers are putting it together. Lad McConkey really figuring it out. Overall, though, I don't think that they are going to have enough to beat the Texans here. So I do have the Texans beating the Chargers in the first round. So next up, we have the Ravens-Steelers game. The Ravens, now this game should be a good one. I think they've, of course they play each other twice a year. They know each other's offense. They know each other's defense, everything like that. There aren't really hidden things that you can do with this squad. As far as the health of Zay Flowers, that's a huge question mark that could be dragging the Ravens down a little bit. I do believe if the Ravens were playing any other team in the first round, being like the Texans, the Chargers, or the Broncos, I genuinely would think it would be a cakewalk for that first round. But because it is the Steelers, I think it is going to be a very close game. I think that the Ravens have a really tough road to make it because you got to go through the Steelers, and then if you win that, you got to go through either the Bills or the Broncos, right? Like, it's just going to be a really tough game here. So I have the Ravens winning this one, but in a close fashion. I do think that this one's not going to be as it's going to be a one, maybe two score game kind of thing. The Ravens, and if it is a two score game, it's going to be the Ravens pull ahead at the end. I think to start this game, it's just going to be extremely close. You have the defense of the Steelers going to be extremely solid. The question is the offense with the Steelers. Can Russell Wilson, get George Pickens the ball? Can Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, the Baltimore defense is really good. They put Kyle Hamilton more at a free safety position to where now since they did that, they have the number one pass defense. So that's going to be a tough task for the Pittsburgh offense. I'm not saying that they can't do it. I just think that the Ravens, Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, and then the question mark of Zay Flowers and his health will dominate the Steelers offensively. Now let's move to the Bills and the Broncos. This one I think is going to be the closest of the first round matchups, the closest game. I think that people are discrediting rookie Bo Nix in this offense because I think that they can air it out. It's going to be cold. It's going to be a tough game for sure. I mean, Buffalo's a favor by 9.5. I think it'll be a little closer than that. Yes, I still do have the Bills winning this game. I think the Bills, they're the better team of the two. I think Josh Allen is playing at that MVP caliber level. And I just think that, oh, my mistake here. I put them there. I think that overall, the Bills, Josh Allen is just unstoppable right now. He is very tough to stop, and I don't know if the Broncos will be able to do it. But what I can say is if there is a team to do it here in the first round, it would be the Broncos, right? Between the Broncos, Chargers, Texans, and Steelers, I think that, the Broncos have the best shot of upsetting. So that's why this first round is going to be really good. Already we can see a close game between the Texans and the Chargers. Right, I expect a close game between the Ravens and the Steelers. I expect a close game between the Bills and the Broncos. That 9.5 point spread, I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. So that leaves us with the Chiefs here having that first overall seed. They're playing against the Texans at the 4th seed. Between the Chiefs and the Texans, right? The Chiefs have such a unique season because their record, I just feel like, isn't as it doesn't tell the tale of their season, right? You would think with their record they would have this dominant season where they just manhandled teams left and right. But realistically, like they beat the Broncos by getting a blocked field goal on the last play of the game. The offense hasn't looked good, right? Of course, you've lost. Your receiving core hasn't been the healthiest throughout the season as they're getting Brown back, but I still think that they're just going to manhandle the Texans. The Texans, their squad isn't there. I think that if the Texans were healthy, we'd probably have a different conversation. As in, like I think it'd be a lot closer. But because the Texans aren't healthy, you're missing two receivers that are huge in your offense. I just think that it makes the job a lot easier on the Chiefs. Now, that leaves us with the Bills and the Ravens. This is an insane matchup. I think it'll be a really high-scoring game, like a 33-35 kind of game. It's going to be tough, right? The Bills have all the pieces there. They've got a decent receiving core. They've got a good run game. They have Josh Allen, of course. The defense is pretty solid, but every time I feel like everything that you can say about the Bills, you can say about the Ravens, right? The defense is phenomenal. The Bills' defense is phenomenal. The run game, I think you give the advantage to the Ravens with the run game, including Josh Allen and James Cook versus Lamar and Derrick Henry. Of course, the run game's better. Now, receiving-wise, again, it's going to come down to that health of Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. You know, he stepped up a little bit, but Mark Andrews has come back alive to this team the second half of the season. But the Bills, they have Keon Coleman. They have guys that can go out and make plays for them, right? I mean, I think overall this could be a coin flip of a game, and the winner of this game, you know, it's going to give the Chiefs a run for their money for another Super Bowl trip. So I do have the Baltimore Ravens winning this game, as I think Baltimore just has the better roster top to bottom than the Bills do. So now that we've established the AFC Championship side, let's go take a look at the NFC side and see what we got going on over here. Let's start right here, Rams, Vikings. The Rams, their offense is so confusing because some weeks it looks really good, really phenomenal. Other weeks, Cooper Kupp has 0 catches or 1 catch for 5 yards, right? I know Puka is now the number 1 receiver over there and everything, but the offense just scares me because I feel like the Rams are known for their offense. So it's like, well, if your offense isn't really top-notch, can you compete against a team that does have a solid offense and a solid defense? That's why I do have the Vikings taking this first round matchup here. A lot of it has to do with the fact that you just look at their weapons, for example. You match up Puka and Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is a better receiver, right? Right now, Jordan Addison and Cooper Kupp, I mean, we can even list them as, I don't know. That one is a toss-up, of course, just because sometimes I feel like they're very similar in the sense of sometimes both have very good games or very minimal games in this season. And then the run game, Kyron Williams, I'd give him the advantage over Aaron Jones right now, but it's not too far off. The defenses, both are pretty solid. Last time they did play, of course, the Rams did have the win, but I think the offense looked a lot better than it does now. So the Vikings, the one thing the Vikings scare me about is the fact that they have an interesting matchup with the fact that they didn't look good at all against the Lions. The Lions manhandled them. So whatever they can do to avoid the Lions, it's crucial there. So I think you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this. There's going to be an upset here. We can just get right to it. I do have the Commanders beating the Buccaneers, and let me explain why, right? At the beginning of the season, the Commanders did play the Buccaneers, right? The Buccaneers ended up winning that game. It was one of the first starts of Jalen Daniels' career. Jaden Daniels, I'm a huge believer in the fact that guy can rise in those tough games, right? We've seen it when the going gets tough and he needs to shine, he does, i.e. the Hail Mary play, right? Of course, a little bit of luck is involved in that, but we have even seen times when he is driven down the field and just been able to keep his composure. He doesn't seem like he gets flustered. Even if he's having not the greatest game or something like that, he always seems to bounce back and fights for when it counts. And so in that fourth quarter drive that we're talking against the Buccaneers, that defense I don't like at all for the Buccaneers. I don't. Now the Commanders defense ain't too much better, but I think that there are some X factors that will give the edge to the Commanders over the Buccaneers. It's funny because initially I thought the Buccaneers were going to win this game. Now that I'm sitting down doing the research and everything, I am choosing the Commanders because there's just playmakers, right? Marshawn Lattimore, last time he matched up against Mike Evans, for some reason he just has Mike Evans' number. He does. Last time they played, only allowed 3 catches. Mike Evans even got ejected, right? If Marshawn Lattimore can go in and do something like that, I think that opens this game wide up, right? The second receiver for the Buccaneers, you look at somebody like Jalen McMillan. If he ends up becoming your number one receiver because Mike Evans gets ejected or it's just been shut down all day, I'm feeling good if I'm a Commanders fan. Of course, the issue is going to be the run game. Can you stop the run if you're the Commanders? That O-line is solid. You know, you have to be able to get through that O-line to get pressure on the quarterback. Stop that run game. Right, easier said than done, but of course, I think there are some playmakers on this defense that can do so. The next matchup I have here, of course, is the Eagles and the Packers. The Eagles are a dangerous team. They are. Top to bottom, they might have the best roster in the NFL. They don't look like they have too many holes. Now, what scares me is the whole concussion protocol issue with Jalen Hurts and how he, whether he will that impact him on the field is what I'm trying to get at. In round 1, I think that playing against the Packers without a Christian Watson, I think that the Eagles are going to be able to go out, get the lead right off the bat, and keep the lead, right? They play phenomenal when they play from ahead. So I think if they can do that, they've got a great shot. Also, no Christian Watson means no deep threat, really. You're not going to have needing the burners, and then you think Cooper DeJean going to be on guys like Jaden Reed, Wicks is out there, etc. The Packers can win this game if they can effectively win the turnover battle and if they can win the run game. But the issue is you're going up against Saquon Barkley. I understand Josh Jacobs is on that other side, but he ain't no Saquon Barkley. Now, another thing, I feel as if the Packers, in order to win this game, have to have Jalen Hurts beat them, right? Eliminate A.J. Brown and have Jalen Hurts make those tough throws, make those, literally have him try and throw into double coverage and sneak this little pocket into A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or something like that. Have him try and beat you with his legs. Because let's be honest, I don't know. There's some weeks he looks phenomenal. Other weeks he looks mediocre. And when you have such a good O-line, when you have such a good running back, when you have such a good receiving core, you should be phenomenal, right? We see it a lot in the NFL. The Chiefs have a good O-line. Patrick Mahomes is playing phenomenal. The Chiefs don't have a good O-line. Patrick Mahomes having a shaky season, right? I do have the let's talk about the Lions-Commanders game here. The Lions-Commanders is an interesting one. I think that this is where the Cinderella run ends for the Commanders. They are a good team. I think that even if they lose round 1, it is considered a successful season. No one expected them to come in here and win 12 games on the season. Yes, they played a lot of teams that had a lot of losing records, yada yada, but I'm not really looking at that too much. I'm looking at you had a rookie quarterback who the second quarterback taken off the board who ended up being able to string together a playoff run for you. So you think that it's a successful season. Your O-line was terrible. Your defense, not super great. I think that the Lions will be able to run all over them. I think the Lions will be able to throw all over them. Everything that they want to do, they're going to kind of do. This one is going to be a bit of a landslide. So it'll kind of be good for the Lions too because they have been such an injury-bugged team. They need weeks like this where, one, the first round bye, and then two, having a kind of, I don't want to say a soft week, but an easier week than playing somebody like the Rams, the Buccaneers, or the Packers, right? I think that's the Commanders is your ideal matchup if you're the Lions. Um, so yeah, overall, I think that I would like to see the Commanders just go out in the offseason and work on that O-line, work on that defense, get Jaden another weapon, maybe T. Higgins, something like that. But you can chalk this as a successful season. So now we have Vikings, Eagles. This is going to be a solid game. I don't think that this could go this is similar to like Ravens, Bills, where it'll be pretty solid game. I think it'll be a little high scoring because both offenses are pretty explosive. Both have good running backs. Both have good receiving cores, all that. Yeah, I could see this one being like 24-28 game. Sam Darnold's got the shot to win it downfield, to do one last 2-minute drive. Can he do it? I don't see him doing it. I think that I hope for Sam Darnold's sake he goes out and he balls out, even if they lose in the first round, as long as he has a good game so that he can go and get paid. Because I'm about to drop a video here soon on Sam Darnold and the Vikings season and what the Vikings should do with Sam Darnold. So if you do enjoy this, do me a favor, go check that video out, which will be coming out in the next few days or so. But the Vikings have a good roster. They've got everything that they can to beat the Eagles. It's just a matter of, does Sam Darnold show up or not? I think the defense is solid, but I do give the edge defensive-wise to the Eagles. So now that leaves us with 4 teams left. Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens. With the Chiefs and the Ravens, this is going to be a battle, of course. This is going to be Lamar Jackson's shot at making it to a Super Bowl because the Chiefs, this is their weakest roster in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of the defense too much, honestly. The defense is mediocre in my opinion. I watch it and I just am not super thrilled. And then the offense is terrible. Sometimes it looks awful, right? Yes, they're getting healthy. Xavier Worthy is finding his spot. Travis Kelce is showing his age, you can say. But Patrick Mahomes hasn't really had the greatest year. So for those reasons, I am giving the Super Bowl edge to the Ravens, and I do think that we're going to see the Ravens in the Super Bowl. The Ravens just, like I said before with their matchup against the Bills, they've got the running back, they've got the quarterback, they've got decent receivers. The question mark will be Zay Flowers. I think the defense is there with the switch for Kyle Hamilton playing free safety. Letting that guy kind of roam lets you just open up the reverse open up the field, as in close down that field, really contain what is going on and what the Chiefs will be able to do. I think that this is the best season, the best odds for both the Bills and the Ravens. Regardless of whether the Bills make it or the Ravens make it, this is the best odds to beat the Chiefs in a while. I think even when they played the Eagles in the Super Bowl a few years back when they won it, and Patrick Mahomes had that hurt ankle, I think this roster is just a little bit worse than that roster was. So now that leaves us with Lions, Eagles. This one is so tough because you want to root right for the Lions so bad, but the injuries, I think missing Aiden Hutchinson is going to hurt. The Eagles, I think that run game is going to be solid. It'll probably be contained, but I think they're going to get a little creative against the Lions. Dan Campbell, his head coaching style, he's a risk taker. And I don't know if I feel as if it's going to be coming down to those crucial plays, the 4th and 1s when they go for it, whether or not they get those, right? The times that they don't get it, it's such a risky play, of course. There's so much football to play in one game. A 4th and 1 in the second quarter could be the difference in them getting it or not. So reasons like that, I am going to take the Eagles to win the NFC Championship. And so we're going to have the two birds battling it out, Ravens, Eagles, in the Super Bowl. Now, this one's going to be a matchup of the century because I think this will be a decently high-scoring game as well. 28-35-esque game where it's going to come down to, does Jalen Hurts beat the Ravens defense or does Lamar Jackson beat the Eagles defense? And when I look at those two defenses, I have the slight edge to the Ravens. Now, that doesn't mean that the Eagles can't win this game, because on the offensive side, you look at, they match up pretty darn even, except for the receiving core. The receiving core obviously is a huge advantage to the Eagles. With that being said, I do still think that the Ravens end up pulling this game out. I think that the Ravens win the Super Bowl, Lamar Jackson, Super Bowl MVP, and the Eagles, unfortunately, just didn't have enough there. They go into the offseason, they really hammer on going and getting some corners or a safety or something like that to really help out that secondary, because I think it needs some help. It's almost there, but it needs a little bit of assistance. So with that being said, guys, if you did enjoy this video, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below, what do you think about the Ravens winning the Super Bowl this year? Without further ado, it's been another Heart Over Height episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.